Good afternoon, YouTubers. I've had a lot of inquiries as to what I use for cartridges in my 45 player, so I thought I'd do a little video and show you what I use and how it's done. And for most of my players today, what I use is the Cartridge cartridge, this little son of a gun right here. It's obviously Chinese made, like everything else in out there today. And it's known as a P188 or a CZ800 or a Cartridge. They're all the same thing. What it is a ceramic stereo cartridge that's very nice and small and fits in here rather snugly, as I'm going to show you in a couple of minutes. And we're going to show you how to do that. These are perhaps the most economical cartridges out there with really, really good tone. And I'm going to show you how you can pretty much do this yourself for about $12. Now, nearly everybody out there has seen Willie Bosco's, let's see if I can get a little picture here for you. That's his cartridge. You see that quite often on eBay. And there's nothing the matter with that. This is the Cartridge cartridge, but what he does is he makes an aluminum base for the goddamn thing and runs the wire so that it's a direct plug and play for your tone arm. But it's also somewhat expensive in that they're $35 and then $3 for shipping. Now he has every right to charge that. He earns it, believe me. And if what you want is a drop and go cartridge, then by all means this is the one to buy for yourself. But if you want the same tone and you want to do it yourself for far less money, I'm going to show you how to do it for $12. And I sell the cartridges, and along with the cartridge I'll be giving you some wire to go with it. I generally use either capacitors or resistors, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do with these here. There's a couple different ways to handle these. What you're going to take out of your current arm is going to look very much like this. And you'll notice that there's this little guard that goes around the needle. And the first thing you're going to do is to remove that guard. You're going to take and grind it off. You're going to use your existing cartridge, that is. You're going to grind it off with a Dremel tool, those little divots there, or with a grinding wheel, doesn't make any difference, so that you can separate it and end up with this in the end. Yeah, figures I dropped it. Let's get it again here. That's basically what you're going to end up with when you're done. And we're going to take a cartridge just like this. You'll notice that there are 4 posts on the bottom, and they have tiny little holes in them, and those holes are just big enough for this wire to sneak right in like that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the wire and we're going to cut 2 pieces approximately 1 3/8 long, and we're going to just bend it in 2 so that we can fit it inside the cartridge much like this. You're going to do the 2 large ones, or the 2 small ones that are narrow together, and you're going to do the 2 in the back which are further apart. And this is what it's going to look like when you're done. Now friction fit will hold these, but if you're uncomfortable with that, you can always drop a little dot of solder at each joint. I caution you though that you do not want to use much time doing that. You want to be very fast in and out, or you're going to ruin the cartridge. You'll also notice that it's marked, probably can't see it too well in here, but it's marked R and L, which is right and left, and you got the minuses and the pluses. The minuses are the 2 shorter ones here in the front, and the pluses are the 2 in the back. So when you're putting this together, just to give an example here, you're going to see that you have 2 wires, 1 red, 1 white, and usually a black one. The white and the black are ground. So you want to make sure that the red wire is attached to the one in the rear here, the furthest apart, and the black and the white attached to the narrower pieces in the front here. And there's a couple of ways to do this. You can take this cartridge, we're going to show you a couple different ways here, this cartridge right here, and once you've taken that piece out here, you can divide it in 2 and clean all the lanolin out of it, and you can cut this back a little bit and actually tape the cartridge like this. Actually, you're going to glue it. You're going to glue it inside that half once you cut it back just like that. And you're going to do the wiring so that you can use the existing two connectors like this. This to me is the hard way to do it. It's long and cumbersome. So what I do is I do this method right here, where we're going to take the two wires, 1 3/8, and we're going to take them, bend them in two, and put them in the slots just like that. The other way to do it, if you want to use the existing connectors like you see here, is to take the two pieces of wire. In this case, we want to make them 1 3/4 long instead of 1 3/8. And we're going to bend that in two, but we're going to narrow it up top here so that you can get the connectors on them. So these connectors would fit right on there like that. And you can use the existing connectors. I highly recommend that when you do this, that you do use a little dot of solder to hold those into place. And note that you want to separate them like that, because you don't want them making contact with each other. And they are basically going to drop into place like this so that you can do the connection. But before we do any of that, what we need to do is to take the arm. Once you've got it all cleaned up, you'll notice that there's that little post in there. Most of them have it, and even if there is no post in it, there'll be a little spot where you can see where there was one. And you're going to get yourself some small washers like this. And we're going to drop the washers right into place, right over the post. And we want to do that with 5 washers so we can bring it up to the top of the post just the way you see here. Once you've got the 5 washers on there, you put a little drop of glue on there, which will hold it into place by capillary action. It'll just suck it right in there. Give it a couple of minutes to dry. And the reason we're going to do that is because these cartridges are substantially lighter than the original cartridge that was in there. And if we don't do that, this thing just will not track properly. So you want to do that. And after we've done that, we're going to take and drop the cartridge into place just like this. And you'll note that the face of it is up just a little bit in the front. We're going to drop this into place. Like that. We're going to put our 2 screws in. Bear with me here. And we want to make sure that we drive this cartridge as far forward as we can. Like that. Make sure you screw it into place. Now those washers served a dual purpose. First of all, it provides support for the needle itself, and it adds the extra weight that you need. When you're all said and done, you'll notice you have a really low profile. To the point where you should be able to stack, in most cases, 15 records on a spindle. Once you've done that, obviously you're going to connect your wires here. I recommend taking your black and white wire, soldering them together. They will go on the top one, and the red one is going to go on the bottom one right here. And that's it. Very easy. Now if you chose to do it like this, you're going to do it the same way. Again, you're going to put in your washers. You drop this into place. You've already got the connectors there. They're just going to slip right on. Just like that. So, in my personal opinion, that's the easiest way to handle these cartridges. They're inexpensive. We're talking $12 including shipping. That will include the cartridge and the wire necessary to do it yourself. That is these little pieces of wire here, which are going to be from either capacitors or from resistors, whichever I have handy. And that's about it. So instead of spending $38, you're going to spend $12 and do the same thing. Very effective, very cheap. They sound great. And one last thing that I failed to mention. These are metal stylus and not plastic. Some of these manufacturers out there have plastic stylus. They suck by comparison. They just don't have the fidelity that the metal ones do. These are actually quite nice sounding. And in another scenario, if you chose not to do it as a mono, because we are bridging it right here, we're bridging the left and the right, both for the positive and the negative, to do a mono. But if you had the inclination, you could make it a stereo player, so long as you've got a stereo amplifier to shoot it into. And of course, you're going to need to add another set of plugs on the other side to be able to plug it into an amplifier. So I hope that takes some of the mystery out for you. Very easy to work with. It won't take you much time. You'll be pleased with it when you do with it, and when you're done with it rather. And again, if you have an interest in the cartridge, I'll provide you with the cartridge and the wiring necessary. That is, either the capacitor or resistor, whatever I have handy for you. And do it yourself. I do so many of these here that it's not cost effective for me to buy something like Willie Bosco's cartridge. It would just cost me a fortune. So this is the easiest, the cheapest, least expensive, most gratifying way to do it without spending a lot of money. All you need to do is contact me through the YouTube messaging system here, and I'll give you an email address. You can send it by PayPal if you'd like, $12, which will include shipping and the parts you need to do the job. That's it. I welcome any comments you might have along the way. Have a great day.